For August 7th, 2014, on a Thursday, we welcome you to an all-new Impact Showdown, episode 113. Your host right here, Black Avenger, a.k.a. the Black Azrael Lee Sanders. Man, how about that Impact Wrestling tonight? For those of you that have watched it on Spike TV, you got to admit, especially if you've been checking out wrestling from various promotions, TNA has been doing some very solid stuff the past several weeks with regards to these shows that they did in New York City last month, as the company is, as we speak, back in the New York City area doing another batch of shows. I would only hope that lightning can strike twice for the promotion, as their future on Spike TV still is in the balance. It still hangs in the balance. A lot of people not really sure what's going on with them and their relationship with Spike TV, as far as whether or not they can reach out and accomplish a new deal. But more on that later. For now, we're just going to kick on back and talk about this episode. As always, we welcome those of you that's joining us on Thursday nights as we're talking all things TNA, especially the latest installment of Impact Wrestling. As always, get those comments down below, interact with us, let us know what you had thought about tonight's show. You can also hit us up on Twitter at the RCWR Show. While you're at it, take the time out, hit us up on Facebook at Infinity One Productions. You know the drill for you long-time listeners. So, and hey, man, I shouldn't have to tell you, but be sure to give this episode a thumbs up, all right? Helps spread a good word about our content and all of that. Let's jump right into it, man. So, I mean, we kept hearing it. They were hyping this up all week since last Thursday, as they were dubbing it hashtag It Happens. That was it. Some of you have felt, man, do we really need to hear about the whole Dixie Carter going through the wooden table? Yes, 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 and yes. Are you insane? Yes, we needed to hear that, because we needed to have that be a burning image in the back of our mind from last Thursday all the way up to now, continuing to say to ourselves, gotta watch Impact tonight, gotta watch Impact tonight, gotta watch Impact tonight, gotta watch Impact tonight. TNA Impact Wrestling definitely have faced some competition tonight. Let's be for real. You had the Washington Redskins that had their preseason game against the Patriots, of which they did win. Now, I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, who cares? It's preseason. Well, in particular, over here on the East Coast, especially for those that are huge Redskins fans, this first pregame was a very big deal, because it gave fans an opportunity to see how Robert Griffin III was doing. Remember, he was kind of benched by Mike Shanahan for a majority of the season last year, kind of ruffled the feathers of some people, in particular with the Griffith family, as in Robert Griffith Sr. there and all that. I'm getting a little bit sidetracked, but you basically had that game going on, which definitely went into, God, I think the game probably stopped around maybe 10:30. I remember seeing a post show afterwards, but it at least went up until about 10:30. Then you had the U-Shoot that was conducted live by kayfabe commentaries, as they were talking to somebody that briefly had stopped by in the TNA promotion, and Evan Bourne, a.k.a. Matt Sydal. You all that know your WWE product well, you know that name very well. They did about, my God, I think they did like almost 2.5 hours that they were on. Not to mention WWE was doing their thing on the network tonight with NXT. So TNA facing some competition tonight. So if there was ever a time to really hype up this episode, the fact that TNA Wrestling did it last week was actually a very smart move. I love the whole touch that they put on social media with today being Put Your Boss Through a Table Day. I was having a field day spreading that love throughout my coworkers and my bosses today. I said, hey, according to a wrestling promotion, today is the Put Your Boss Through a Table Day. They were like, are you serious? Like, yeah. So make sure you watch out, because somebody who may not like you might end up putting you through a table, and they were getting a kick out of it, So I mean, it was definitely the talk amongst real wrestling fans that appreciate wrestling from all various promotions. Definitely the passionate TNA fans that check out the product on a weekly basis. And let's just address the elephant that's in the room right now. Normally, I like to do the nice build up to that moment, but I just want to go on ahead since I'm still high off of that momentum. I want to just go on ahead and talk about it right now. I think the best way we can kind of really address talking about this spot that Dixie Carter had did is to basically kind of go backwards a little bit in setting up what had happened leading up to that point. As in order to talk about this, you got to talk about the hardcore match that was amongst the team captains, Bully Ray, Ethan Carter III, as Ethan Carter III was leading the pack with Gene Snitsky, Rip Law or Rick Long, whatever the hell he's calling himself. I call him Ezekiel Jackson. Also, so that's three guys that we named right there. The fourth guy was Rhino. They were taking on Bully Ray, Devon, Tommy Dreamer. Of course, the question that a lot of us had last week that did not check out the spoilers was, who the hell is Team 3D Tommy Dreamer going to get? Because, I mean, you pretty much got, like, all these ECW guys over here, former ECW guys. Who exactly are they going to get? Sure enough, they had got Al Snow. Honestly, I didn't see it coming. I should have known better. You know, shame on me. But Al Snow, God, he looks great too, by the way. He has got to be, I believe, because he just recently celebrated a birthday. I believe he's 51 years of age right now. He looks freaking good. The man looks good. Everybody in the crowd were like, you still got it. You still got it. And it's like, he never stopped wrestling. He's been doing this thing on the independent circuits. In particular, he's mainly been doing work with David Hero, who runs the Blizzard Brawl and all that. Just been doing his thing over there. So, I mean, the guy's always been active. He just doesn't really do that much physicality-wise with the TNA product, you know, but to each its own. But I love seeing all four of those guys just going at it. Great spot, too, with all the fans that were in that arena at the Hammerstein Ballroom as they were given head mannequins. I just thought that was a nice little touch. You know, when I first saw it, I was like, what the hell? But I thought it was nice that they passed them around and was like, look, when Al Snow comes out, here, do your thing with the mannequin. I thought that was a great freaking touch right there. Just gave me goosebumps. It made me smile big time, took me back to an earlier time in Al Snow's career. And I'm not talking about the Al Snow, Mick Foley. No, I'm talking way before all that stuff had even came about. It was a great spot that we saw right there. Kudos to Ethan Carter III. He really, I said it last week, can't stress it enough. This man, on a week-to-week basis, every single time you see him on each episode, he has really just been doing one hell of a job continuing to evolve his character. And he really just stood out in my mind tonight during this match, even though he really didn't have that much to say leading up to this match. Now I'm thinking about it, I don't even know if he really spoke at all. You know, he did all his talking in the ring, and that guy, he pretty much had took the most bumps. He definitely was opened up, bloodied wise. He really sold the hell out of a lot of spots that was happening in this match, and it's just stuff like that that just really solidifies in my mind even more that the future is definitely looking bright for him in becoming the future TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Whether some people want to give the man his props or not, I know we have those that kind of look at some of these WWE superstars and they look at them as WWE rejects and all that, and I would love to be so quick to jump on that bandwagon. I really would, but my whole mentality is, you know what, let's wait and actually see how TNA Creative operates with this wrestler and what they can do with this character that they're trying to portray to us via on television before we pass judgment, because that's just a little bit premature, you know what I'm saying? And I just feel that with the way they've embraced Ethan Carter, and just, they really gave this guy an opportunity, whereas in WWE he just really was not afforded these type of opportunities creatively. Everything is so micromanaged. I shouldn't have to tell you how it is over there. You guys that know your wrestling, you do yourself, try to educate yourself, and you see what wrestlers that have worked for the WWE have had to say and shoot interviews and all that. You all know. You should have that knowledge by now. And if you don't, go educate yourself, because for me to do it on this episode wouldn't even make it be about TNA wrestling. All right, so on your own time, go look that up. But yeah, Ethan Carter III just seems like week after week, episode after episode, this man just continues to get better and better, just overall, as far as the complete package goes. It's just amazing. He's got that combination of Bobby Roode meets when Chris Jericho debuted in the WWF/E. Just a whole different lot of combinations is going on right here with this guy. I'm loving it. I could name like 5 more wrestling personalities that I'm able to pick up from EC3. But yeah, I'm telling you, man, if you would have said to me like 3 months ago, hey, Ethan Carter, he needs to be the TNA champion. I said it last week. I got to say it again just to be consistent. I would have said no. I don't see him being a TNA champion. But my God, if this young man continues the path that he's on right now, maybe before this year is out, it could happen. It could very well happen. We shall wait and see how that all comes about. I do want to take this time, thank those of you that's checking us out for this Thursday, August 7th, 2014. Your host right here, Black Avenger Lee Sanders. You're checking out an all-new Impact Showdown, episode 113. As we're talking fallout from TNA Impact Wrestling. For those of you that's going to be seeing the recording of this, you are going to be probably hearing a ad break right about now. So just hang tight for a few seconds. When we come on back, we'll continue the discussion of TNA Impact Wrestling, as now that we've set that first half up for you all, as we saw the team of Team 3D with Tommy Dreamer and Al Snow pick up the victory over Ethan Carter III's team. Now that that's out the way, now we can have some real fun and talk about the sweet spot that happened at the end of the night, as it was dubbed hashtag It Happens. Dixie Carter going through the wooden table. I'm going to go in depth about this, and some of you all may or may not like some of choice words, I have to say, with regards to the TNA president, Dixie Carter. You may be a little bit shocked, but we'll talk about that as soon as we come back from this ad break. So stick around. We'll be coming right back. And we are back. We're talking fallout from TNA Impact Wrestling. All right, so the spot that we all just envisioned in our mind as soon as we heard about it from people that had went to these shows, to whatever we were able to read online, for those of us that decided we wanted to read about the spoiler results of these shows, I of which did not, but I did hear from friends that went to the event, certain spots that had happened, and for me it was like, what? That actually happened? That's awesome. The spot with Dixie Carter going through the table. Let's set this up properly for you guys. So my whole thing as I was watching this episode tonight was, how are they going to tell the story of Dixie Carter going through the table? How are we going to get to this part? Is it going to be a scenario where Dixie Carter, she ends up saying to herself, you know what, I don't like the fact that my nephew and his team, they lost. There's no telling what Tommy Dreamer, Team 3D, Al Snow could do. Maybe we should just get the hell up out of here. I was wondering what the mindset was going to be. But throughout the night, we just saw this defiant Dixie Carter who's saying to herself, look, my nephew and his team, they're going to beat you. You're not going to put me through a table, Bully Ray. Keep dreaming on. Her nephew loses. She's still very adamant. She's still very passionate, determined to prove her point. Hell, she has all those guys that's around her, and she has King Mojo Jojo, okay, and King Lao. So it's kind of like, okay, she has this winning combination going on. How can she possibly lose? But yet, in the back of my mind, I'm saying to myself, why not just cash your chips out? Just say, you know what, live to fight another day. We need to try to do some type of a divide and conquer because Bully Ray's team, the ranks are continuing to grow. There's no telling who they might be adding on next. Maybe we should get a limo, go back to the hotel, and try to come up with a new strategy, or maybe we should head on back to Nashville, whatever. But that wasn't Dixie Carter's mentality. She was very defiant, making her point that Bully Ray, it just wasn't happening. As far as she was concerned, she was looking to have tonight pretty much be the throwdown. And at the end of the night, we see her, we see the rest of the guys that was in that match earlier with Ethan Carter, all be there with her, by her side, along with King Mojo Jojo, as they were going face to face with Bully Ray and his men. And Bully Ray basically said to her, you know, for the longest time, I've been saying to you, I've been promising to these fans that you're going to go through a table, and tonight is the night. Everything that is bad about this business ties back to you. You know, basically the way Bully Ray was describing her, it was almost like, look, you are the root of all evil. Everything that's wrong with the promotion, it's pretty much beginning and ending with you. You're like the cancer. You need to be removed. I'm going to do it. We're going to end this once and for all. And we had saw King Mojo Jojo pretty much lose his cool, sucker punch Tommy Dreamer. Anarchy just broke out in the ring. And at one point, we just see poor Dixie Carter. She's left alone. And it's like, okay, here we go again. She has this mental delay. She's just standing there, and it's kind of like, come on now, stop, drop, roll out the ring. You know, you learn this when you're in school. What happens when there's a fire? You stop, you drop, you roll. And it was like a mental delayed reaction for Dixie Carter. It's like, okay, come on now. Don't you know who the hell is in the ring with you? Mind your surroundings. Stop, drop, roll. Let's go. And I was a little bit concerned that it was going to end in a way where Dixie Carter doesn't really do that much of a good job putting up a fight and trying to avoid getting put through a table. As we see her finally, it took a good minute, it felt like an eternity too, but we see her finally stop, drop, and roll. She gets into the arms of Rockstar Spud. You know, Rockstar Spud's like, not tonight. It's not happening. Dixie's kind of getting a little bit of her swagger back. But then we see the entire TNA locker room of good guys. Just some of the names I can remember off the break, because there was a lot of people that came out. Definitely Gunner, Austin Aries, Gil Kim, Mr. Anderson. I want to say Samuel Shaw was there. I believe Samoa Joe was there. You know, but the way Mike Tenay and Taz dubbed it, they basically said, oh, the TNA locker room, you know, has come out. And wait for the locker room of the baby faces to stand in unison, you know, to have that alliance there where it's like, no, Dixie Carter, you've just been doing way too much crap for the longest time. You need to get what's yours. As I forgot who it was that had attacked Rockstar Spud. Somebody had grabbed him, though, and they took him out of the equation from trying to save Dixie. And we actually had saw Tommy Dreamer grab Dixie, roll her back into the ring, into the waiting arms of Devon Bully Ray, as Bully Ray went up to the top turnbuckle, sat right there. Devon helped put Dixie over his shoulders, and man, when it was all said and done, to see Bully Ray just go from that top turnbuckle and just do a nice sit-down power bomb through that wooden table, as only Bully Ray knows how to do it best. Orgasmic is the best thing I can say, is the best word I can use to describe what had happened, especially the look on Bully Ray's face. I hadn't seen that look in a long time, not since what Bully Ray had did to Mae Young on that infamous episode of Monday Night Raw. It was banging like that, to just see it from all different angles. Dixie Carter sold the hell out of that bump through the table. Honestly, my biggest concern, and I can understand why she said she had some stiffness and she hurt like hell afterwards and all that. I honestly believe in my heart of hearts, as much as Bully Ray tried to protect her, he did a good job. I honestly believe that Dixie Carter's head had hit the back of the canvas. If it didn't, that was a hell of a sell, but it just looked a little too good for me. I, in particular, couldn't help but continue to check out the head spot and the way her head, it just seemed like it bounced off the canvas. I'm hoping that really wasn't the case. But it was a damn good spot. I could have sworn after the spot happened initially, Dixie Carter had put out a tweet saying that her neck had hurt like hell. So I actually might be on to something right there. But she did not half-ass it. She took it like a damn pro. And you know what? I've got to give her mad freaking props big time. Because honestly, to have half-assed taking that spot, considering that a woman like two, three times her senior and Mae Young was able to take that damn spot, you know, she definitely would have been ridiculed. She would have been heckled probably by the wrestling community, no doubt about it. But she sold the hell out of that spot. And gosh darn it, I'm actually gonna stick up for Dixie Carter, man, because when it's all said and done, love her, hate her, call her stupid, call her the person that's responsible for uh, TNA's shortcomings, why they aren't in a place financially and globally like the WWE. It's all because of her. Say what you will, but when it's all said and done, Dixie Carter has stepped up at a time where there really needed to be that antagonist, that person that you just want to hate and you just want to see them get their just due, and you keep watching week after week after week because you want to see what's going to happen to that character. I mean, for me personally, when I was a kid growing up, I loved the cartoon series Eek the Cat. I don't know if you guys remember that. But I used to love Eek the Cat for one of the main reasons, which was there was a part of me that didn't like Eek the Cat. And I would watch it every week in hopes that Sharky the dog would do something really foul to Eek. Sharky was my boy. I know there's a lot of people that can relate to what I'm saying and be like, Sharky was the man. Sharky always got Eek when it counted the most. And for me, every time I used to watch Eek the Cat, I always wanted to see how Sharky was going to get Eek for that week. I was a little bummed out sometimes when we didn't get Sharky in there, and it was like, oh, great, Eek the Cat goes scot-free. But man, when he got his, it was like, yes. And, for me, with the Dixie Carter character, the fact that she's been able to work up emotions really, really deep inside of me and have me say, man, get this woman off the TV, somebody shut her up or whatever. To see her go through the spot that she went through, it was awesome. But in retrospect, in leading up to this point, she stepped up at a time when TNA really needed that main antagonist. Because think about it. When it was pretty much the Eric Bischoff, Hulk Hogan show, she really didn't, there really wasn't anything that was going on like that. Really wasn't. We really did not start seeing her come to fruition as a regular on-screen character pretty much until you had the whole stuff that was going on with Hulk Hogan. Look as though he was getting ready to make his exit. Bischoff was already off television at that point. Whether or not he was still doing something in a backstage capacity role, in a production role, until he says otherwise, only thing most people can do is assume and draw up their own conclusions. But it really didn't seem like Dixie Carter, it really didn't seem like she started to come into fruition as an on-screen character until right about when Hulk Hogan was about to make his exit, and then she just pretty much picked up the ball from that point going forward. And as a character, she just, I must admit, I definitely see the difference from when she began officially all the way up to where we are tonight. And she's done a hell of a job. And it's just unfortunate that TNA fans will continue to brand her as, oh, she's the problem with the company, and she needs to be out of there. And everybody wants to come up with the whole conclusion that by getting Dixie Carter out of the TNA company, that that's going to take care of all their. No, one person. There's a lot that needs to be done with the product, not just cosmetically. Just because you put a six-sided ring back in there, it doesn't mean that all the other deeper problems that runs real deep in the company, that's just been having a big old domino effect, is going to go away. And that's basically like putting a Band-Aid over a wound, literally. And you hope that it'll heal up, it'll go away. But if you're not putting proper medication on it, you're cleaning it up and all that, you're checking it out from time to time, you just ignore it. You just think, hey, I'm just going to put a Band-Aid over it and hope for the best. No, that's not how it works. So, some people, you all, to each its own. You can blame Dixie Carter all you want, but even if you were to remove her out of the picture, it's not going to take care of all the problems that the company continues to have. There's only but so much you can blame on Dixie Carter. There's only but so much you can blame on Vince Russo. There's only much you can blame on Hulk Hogan, which amazes me to this day that we still have people that say, well, TNA started going down the crapper once they had brought in Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff and Bruce Pritchard and all that. TNA was having problems long before they brought these guys in. They just went about it the wrong way. Their mentality was, well, maybe if we bring these people in, that will take care. No, if you're not properly taking care of the problem that already exists, and you basically turn a blind eye to it, what's going to happen, folks? Say it with me. It's going to come back. It's going to bite you in the ass, all right? But the way Dixie has been operating with this character, all the way up to now, I've just really been impressed with her, and she definitely has my utmost respect. I love the spot that she did. I've always been giving Dixie Carter praise where I feel it's been needed. So this all isn't just coming off of one freaking episode, and it's like, all right, Dixie Carter's the same. No. For me, I'm actually really able to be truly objective, be brutally honest with my interpretation. It's not an interpretation I want for you all to feel as though you need to have on you. To each its own. But that's just where I stand with regards to that. I could be wrong. You could disagree with me. It's okay to disagree. Just respect my opinion, as I will definitely respect your opinion. That's all I ask. Give respect, get respect back. Other than that great spot, other quick notes that we can talk about. Bram had defeated Abyss in a Monsters Ball match. Pretty freaking solid matchup right there. I thought that was a really great way to open up tonight's episode of Impact Wrestling. And by the way, as far as the wrestling pretty much just leading up to that main event spot, of which Dixie went through the table, overall, really awesome. Everything just flowed so well. I really, just minusing what was going on with Dixie, just put that to the side for a minute. I really enjoyed this episode more than I did with last week's episode. I really did. All the shows that we've been getting from New York has been on point. There definitely were some that was kind of like, not as good as the last week. And this was definitely one of those type of episodes. Minus Dixie Carter. It was, hey, this is actually a better card than what we got last week. Mr. Anderson, Gunner, and Samuel Shaw, they had lost to the Bromance and DJ Z. This was a very close tag match. I really didn't think I was going to be able to get into this tag match like that. we pretty much had saw towards the end Samuel Shaw. He tried to do his best to get back in the ring to try to break up a pin that the Bromans had. I believe it was on Mr. Anderson, who was the one getting pinned, but he wasn't able to break it up in time. Mr. Anderson pissed at Samuel Shaw. This is playing out very well too. I must say, with regards to Mr. Anderson saying to Gunner, "Look, man, your friend. He's costing us." Anderson still has that chip on his shoulder. Anderson still remembers from when he had fought Samuel Shaw, trying to defend the honor of Christy Hemme and all that. There's just that part of him that just doesn't trust Samuel Shaw. Furthermore, doesn't like Samuel Shaw. And I loved a little bit of friction that was happening in that backstage segment after the guys had suffered that defeat, as it looked as though Gunner was just about to lose his patience with Mr. Anderson, saying to him, "Look, it's not his fault. You let him be. That's my friend. Cut him some slack. The man's trying." And Anderson just really wasn't buying it. But leave it to Samuel Shaw to be the reasonable one. And this is the one that came from out of Arkham Asylum. That's a Batman reference too, by the way, so I don't get asked that a question again, because nobody caught it when I said it last week. But you all that know your video games, you probably get a nice little chuckle out of that. But leave it to Samuel Shaw to stop what was going to be a potential fight between both of these men and say, "Look, stop. It's my fault. I'm the one that dropped the ball on this one." And even Mr. Anderson kind of gave him his props and was like, "Yeah, it's his fault. It's his fault." So I like that little touch that they're doing right there with the friction. And it's like, okay, so how are we going to continue this? What's going to happen in the next chapter with these set of characters that's going on right here? Samuel Shaw's trying to do the right thing. Seems like his intentions are good right now. Doesn't seem like he's going back to his fetish of Christy Hemme, at least not just yet. What's going to happen next? I got to pose that question to you guys. What do you think is going to happen next with regards to these guys? Are we on a collision course of Gunner taking on Mr. Anderson? Pretty much this is the end result of Anderson saying, or correction, of Gunner saying to Anderson, "I'm getting a little bit sick and tired of you always trying to use Samuel Shaw as the scapegoat. It's going to stop here. It's going to stop now." And Mr. Anderson maybe kind of feeling a little frisky and saying, "What exactly are you going to do about it?" You maybe see something like that playing about, or you see something else happening. Or just to kind of stir the pot a little bit, we're talking about stirring, is Samuel Shaw maybe going to stir this and use it to his advantage to have these guys basically take on one another? Well, maybe he resumes his little fetish. Give me your comments. Let me know what you all have to say with regards to that. Those of you that's checking this recording out right now, you're going to be seeing another ad break. Hang tight. Come on back. We're going to continue the discussion of TNA wrestling. We also have just one to maybe two pieces of TNA news that I definitely want to go in depth about and definitely try to get you all's input. Not to mention we have some of you all's reactions that we definitely want to get to with regards to tonight's show. So hang tight for that ad break. Come on back and we'll continue the discussion. You're checking out Impact Showdown episode 113, covering Fallout from TNA Impact Wrestling for August 7th, 2014. We'll be coming right back. And we are back. We're continuing discussion of TNA Impact Wrestling. Not too many more things to talk about with regards to what went down tonight. Knockouts. We didn't get a knockouts match. I was actually a little bit bummed out about that, but I appreciated the fact that they planted seeds for what's going to be happening with the knockouts on next week's Impact Wrestling. As we had saw Angelina Love, Velvet Sky, they came down to the ring. Angelina Love basically saying, hey, she's still owed a Knockouts Championship rematch, and she wants it. She wants it right there on the spot. Basically taking aim at the TNA Knockouts champion, Gail Kim, trying to do what she can to ruffle the champion's feathers to maybe possibly get her to come out so that Gail Kim will accept this challenge or whatnot. But we actually saw Angelina Love get interrupted by the beautiful and the lovely blonde bombshell sensation, Miss Taryn Terrell. MILF never looked so good. I didn't say milk. I said MILF. MILF. All right? Never looked so good. We see her come out, and she basically had said, hey, look, I'm in your face right now because you cost me a shot at the Knockouts Championship last week. I had a really good match against Gail Kim. I came so close to becoming the champion. If anybody deserves a title shot, it's me right now, and I want that title shot. I don't appreciate you getting all up in my business like that. And a lot of friction that we saw going on amongst those girls. Finally, we saw Gail Kim come out, and she pretty much had set the tone for next week as she revealed that per Kurt Angle, she is going to be defending her Knockouts Championship match, and she's fine with it. I guess when she was talking to Kurt Angle, this is what she wanted. She's actually going to be having a fatal four-way for that Knockouts Championship. So it's going to be Gail defending the Knockouts Championship between Taryn Terrell, Angelina Love, and the fourth person, get ready for it, wait for it, none other than Velvet Sky. And I love how Gail Kim had kind of stirred the pot a little bit with Velvet Sky basically saying, Velvet, what's your thoughts with regards to all this? As far as the title hunt goes, being the Knockouts champion, what do you have to say in all this? And Velvet Sky was actually about to give a sincere answer, but Angelina Love had cut her off, tried to speak on her behalf. And you just kind of saw this look from Velvet Sky, kind of like, I don't really appreciate being cut off, homegirl. I like that little vibe. That kind of lets me know that the 2014 Pigeons Reunion Tour is going to be coming to an end. I guess maybe the way this is looking right now, as early seeds are being planted in, I guess eventually we're going to see, probably before this year is out, Velvet Sky and Angelina Love break off. Maybe Velvet Sky is going to kind of feel like she's been nothing more than a baggage courier, if you will, or a gopher, a chauffeur, if you will, a sidekick to making sure that Angelina Love has everything that she needs as far as trying to become Knockouts champion and all that. Where's her payoff? Where's her rub off? I said, think about that. I'm talking about females rub off. I tell you. Well, show's over, folks. Good night. No, seriously. It's interesting situation that we have going on right here with the Knockouts Championship. I just hope that as this is being addressed, I just hope that Madison Rain, the beautiful and the lovely, I can't think of her name right now. Brittany, yeah. I want to see Brittany. I want to see those girls come back, because the more and more that those girls are off television, it really doesn't help. And I mean, so much so that, not that many people are probably going to talk about what I'm getting ready to say right here on their own respected shows. And I'm not knocking them or anything like that. But, the past couple of weeks now, I've been seeing these little promos that TNA Wrestling has been doing for Jessica Havoc. And if you know your independent wrestling like that, you know your females, you're definitely familiar with the work of Jessica Havoc. If you're familiar with our Shine Wrestling coverage, you know that she does a lot of work over in their promotion. She's also done some stuff with WSU. She's also done some stuff with Shimmer. I mean, the girl's just been all over the place. Matter of fact, while I'm plugging her, I'm not making any money off of this either, but just so you guys can get a really a good appreciation for her and what she's about, because this sister is freaking good, all right? Freaking good. You can either go to her website, and after this is over, I'll actually put a link in the episode description. Just click on the About. I'll actually put the link in there for you guys. But she has a new DVD that came out maybe about 3 weeks ago. It's a 3-disc set. You get like some of her best matches stretching across a couple of promotions. You get it for $20. I mean, you can't beat that. That's a damn good deal. I think there might be like a limited edition. I'm not really sure, but I know for a fact there's a 3 disc set that's $20. You can't beat that. You can either get it from her website, you can get it from her on eBay because she has an eBay store. But check it out if you're not really that familiar with her. That'll definitely get you all caught up to speed. First of all, I'm looking forward to seeing her come into the TNA brand. If I'm not mistaken, I believe, I'm trying to think. I believe she made her debut at these New York City show tapings. I could be wrong. If not at these New York City show tapings, she may have made her appearance on the next batch of shows that we're about to see, because at this point we're probably like about maybe a month and a half, probably 2 months behind in episodes from what TNA is doing in New York City right now. All right. So we'll see about how that comes, but getting back on track here, it all makes sense. I just wanted to kind of go back and forth a little bit, but as I'm seeing these promos for Jessica Havoc, I'm also saying to myself, damn, way to push to the side Brittany and Madison Rayne, not to mention ODB, and like every other knockout that like we haven't seen in like God knows how long, as the attention is now going to be put on Jessica Havoc as you're doing these videos for her and all that. And it's kind of like, I mean, I'm happy, but at the same time, okay, can we like maybe see some type of proper uh, 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 finality or finale, if you will, come about with the knockouts that's just left dangling in the wind. We've seen this happen from TNA wrestling in the past. It's like, hey, when they got somebody that's getting ready to come help them out for like a good minute, there's people that like just get pushed to the side and they're dust in the wind, and you like, what's going on with them? Last time we had something like this go down, we were asking ourselves, okay, what the hell is going on with the Knockouts tag titles? When are they gonna uh, terminate those championship belts? And or it was, what's going on with that TV championship? When the hell are they gonna, deactivate that? And it was like a running gag for a little bit, So I'm really hoping, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. For the record, I appreciate them introducing new characters. I don't mind that. New wrestlers, I don't mind that. Especially since we got this new guy, Melendez, the amputee, former Army guy. I love that. I love the fact that we got even more new characters that's coming in. I can't wait to see the type of feel that they're going to be giving to the TNA product. Nice type of flavor that they're going to be giving. But at the same time, I just hope that, the other people that's already been there putting in their time, I just hope that they don't really get lost in the shuffle. That's all I have to say. I'm curious what you all think with regards to that. Those of you that definitely are familiar with Jessica Havoc and just analyzing the situation as I have, if you might have a little bit of concerns as well, because, again, we've seen this from time to time. But continuing on, we saw a new X Division champion get crowned in Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe basically becoming the X Division champion after locking his rear naked chokehold while laying on the mat. He applied it to Sonata, and Sonata tapped out. Man, I just couldn't help, as I was seeing Sonata tap out, say to myself, oh, now you got to go backstage and you got to look at James Storm, who's been like making you his bitch the past couple of weeks. James Storm, by the way, I'm digging him right now. I really am digging him. He's calling himself the legend James Storm. I love that. I love that. I love the new little thick beard that he has growing out. Nice sideburns. I love this new demeanor that's coming about. He's just really taking it to another level. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying what he's doing with Sonata. And it's so funny because Sonata isn't really doing anything. That's the beautiful part. Sonata just, what Sonata reminds me of? And I'm about to go into some mature talk, okay? So you all that have kids or whatever, you parents, you're watching us and you have kids, you might like want to have them go to another room for a little bit, or just keep this for your ears only. I'm not going to throw any F-bombs out there or whatever, but I'm just trying to really explain what this situation with Sonata and James Storm reminds me of. It's like an episode of Wicked Attractions on Investigation Discovery, the ID channel. Those of you that's familiar with it, you know the show that I'm talking about. For those of you that don't, Wicked Attraction, it's like basically this series where like there's like this couple, and like amongst the couple, one of the spouses has like this deep dark secret that the other spouse doesn't know about, and basically, long story short, it's the same result every time. The spouse ends up getting killed, by their significant other, whether it's that person killed them themselves, they hired somebody, whatever. It always is the same result, but the boomerang comes back. Justice is balanced as the bad guys, they see their day in court, they go to jail, yada, yada, yada. What this reminds me of is like one particular episode where there was this guy who had a really good life going on. He had a nice wife. He was bringing in millions of dollars, all right? And on the side, he liked doing this kinky crap. He liked doing bondage, all this crap, leather, spanking people, domination, all this crazy crap. It was just insane. I mean, he had a sensational and very dark appetite that his wife did not know about, right? And that he was cheating on his wife's back and all that. And, when the wife had found out what was going on, he kept lying about it. And eventually, unfortunately, she met her demise. But the point that I'm making right here is seeing what happened with that episode, with the characters involved. It reminds me of James Storm and Sonata in a sick, weird way, because James Storm is coming off like this dominatrix, if you will. And he's basically just punking the hell out of Sonata, and Sonata's just taking it. And it's like, okay, Sonata, do you like enjoy this? You like getting slapped? You like, getting punked around? You like being ordered? I mean, it's gotten so bad. James Storm is now telling this man when to bow. So it's kind of like, what's next, Sonata? You're gonna like kiss and lick James Storm's boot? What's next? That's just how it's coming off. Some of you guys are probably like, Lee, you're reaching. I'm telling you that if you know your stuff like that, you're about the bondage and S&M and all that other crap. That's just really how it comes off. I think it's awesome because it makes you feel kind of sorry for Sonata. To a certain extent, you may laugh at the man, but, if you're really looking at the storyline for what it's worth, you may be saying to yourself, damn, when is Sonata going to when he's going to grow a sack? And he's going to be like, man, you're going to stop punking me around, because ultimately the payoff is going to be Sonata reaching that breaking point where he says, I'm tired of you, punking me around. We've seen this before, by the way. We've seen this before. What does this remind you of recently? I'm going to connect the dots for you, and I don't like making the reference, and I'm not trying to say this company is copying off of this company, but there's a little hint, a little touch of lime, all right, of what Bray Wyatt was doing with Daniel Bryan and trying to get him to come over to the dark side, join the Wyatt family and all this. Got a little bit of a shade of that, just a little hint of it, but it's been twisted in such a way that TNA is doing a really good job in making it be their own. So I'm enjoying it so far. I can't wait to see the continuation of Sonata being bitched by the Cowboy James Storm, or the legendary James Storm, every single week. But new knockouts, or no, not knockouts, new X Division champion in Samoa Joe. Honestly, I didn't think the trigger was going to get pulled on Samoa Joe. I really was pulling for low key. I really, really was. I was just saying to myself, low key, he's got to get it. Surely he's going to get it, because low key, man, it just seems like past few times he's been involved with TNA product, he just hasn't been given, that fair shake, But hey, it's still early. Should be kind of cool to see what's going to be coming about with Low Key in the future. I'm all fine for Samoa Joe being the X Division champion. So as long as Samoa Joe just isn't keeping that championship belt warm, I still say I need to see Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle collide like they did weeks prior. I mean, since when is Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle all lovey-dovey, sending each other birthday cards and all that? Last we saw Samoa Joe, he had a serious problem with Kurt Angle being in authority. I'm hoping that we can kind of resume with that. I don't know. Maybe TNA isn't touching it right now because they aren't really sure what's going on with the Olympic gold medalist, if he's going to be going back to the WWE or if he's going to be taking his services elsewhere, whatnot. I do want to touch upon the appearances of Gene Snitsky and Ezekiel Jackson, or AKA Rip Law, Rick Lawn, Rip Thor, whatever the hell he want to call him, Rip Thorn, whatever he wants to call himself. Ezekiel Jackson, damn it, that's what I know him as. We really can't say that much about their in-ring debuts for TNA Wrestling. I mean, honestly, they really didn't do that much. It was like, I mean, what are we going to say? Wow, look at the way Ezekiel Jackson hit Tommy Dreamer with that steel chair. Oh, so good. There's really nothing there. The way Gene Snitsky was just in the corner and he was catching his breath. Oh, so good. There was really nothing to talk about with regards to Jackson, Gene Snitsky. As you all know, these guys were only helping out the TNA product for a couple of these New York City shows. We keep hearing that they get fired. I would think that they're probably going to be fired on next week's episode as a result of not really having Dixie Carter's back. I would think if the firing is going to go down, this should happen on that episode. Whether or not we'll see them again at a later date, who knows? But I really am not going to. I really can't say in the position that I'm in right now what I saw of them tonight. I really can't be like, oh, they're good. They're great assets for TNA. I can't say that right now. I would need to see how these guys do individually in singles competition. Maybe we could do one episode where I'm hoping that it happens. If not at these new New York City shows, then somewhere down the road, I would like to see a scenario play out where maybe Gene Snitsky and Ezekiel Jackson, they're trying to beg Dixie Carter or whoever for another opportunity, or maybe we can see Ezekiel Jackson and Gene Snitsky defect over to Kurt Angle and be like, look, we really came in with Dixie, because we were promised opportunities, here in the company, and dude, we got families we got to take care of and everything, and maybe Kurt Angle could be that knight in shiny armor and say, you want an opportunity, I'll give it to you. You can go out, win your singles match, you get yourself a TNA contract. That way, then we can really be like, okay, this is how they operated, as a performer. Then we can really say whether or not they would be a great fit for the TNA company. But I can't really say right now, hey, they need to be in I can't. I just can't. Not right now. Overall tonight, though, a very solid episode of Impact Wrestling. Once again, I got to give the kudos to the Dixie Carter spot. I'm glad that was like the last burning image that you're left with, is just seeing the orgasmic look on Bully Ray's face as he put her through a table. Insane spot. Loved it. One more time, for those of you that's checking out the recording, you're going to see one last ad break. When we come on back, we're actually going to talk about just 1 to 2 quick notes of TNA wrestling news, and we're going to get to you all's comments. So stick around. You're checking out Impact Showdown, episode 113, covering Fallout from TNA Impact Wrestling for August 7th, 2014. We'll be coming right back. And we are back. All right, it's our last segment. We just got done recapping all that came about from TNA Impact Wrestling. If you're enjoying our recap and review so far, definitely go out of your way. Make sure you give this piece a thumbs up. Share it by Google Plusing it, Facebooking it, retweeting it. One of the many ways you can spread the good word about our content. All right. I've got some brief TNA news that I want to share with you guys. And really, there hasn't been that much that's been going on. In particular, one thing that I want to bring to you all's attention, there is a really great interview that Dixie Carter had conducted with the Bleacher Report. And some of the things that was brought up, I actually checked out the entire transcript of this, and I'm actually pulling it up right now. It's a good read. She talked about spending time at the Manhattan Center. The question was asked about, does she believe in maybe looking at the New York market as a permanent venue for Impact Wrestling. Direct quote, I'll read it to you guys. It's one of those things we wanted to play here. We're like, let's bring a pay-per-view, and then we couldn't get the dates cleared. Do we play across the river in New Jersey? Do we play in the city? It's like, what are we waiting for? We need to bring TV here. This was such a great idea. I'm thrilled that we did it. The crowds have been phenomenal. I love bringing back the six-sided ring here. It's been very, very special, and I think it's really contributed to how great the shows feel. So that's some good stuff right there. She also addressed whether or not in the near future she would wrestle a match. And she said when she first started early on, being involved with the TNA product, she never saw herself as an on-screen character. She didn't think it was going to happen, but eventually it did. She didn't think she was going to go through a table. Eventually it did. She didn't think she was going to do that type of physicality whatsoever. But it happened. But as far as her actually having a match, she said there's just some points where you have to draw that line and say, I'm sorry, that's just something I'm not going to cross no matter what. And for her, she feels she's reached her limit. So as far as doing an in-ring match, just not going to happen. She also addressed those, I guess, smarks is what you want to call them. I don't really name them. Smarks, marks, trolls. I don't, you like wrestling. That's all I care about. We're all just one big happy wrestling universe or whatever, but she addressed that certain audience that said, okay, well, you going through a table, aren't you basically promoting violence upon women? And it was kind of nice the way, that she had shot it down and everything. I recommend that you guys check it out. It's a really good read. She also had talked about what it was like being able to work with Hogan, Bischoff, Kurt Angle, Jeff Hardy. It's a lot of good stuff. She also talked about the future of the TNA product, what's going on with the the ratings, with the their future on Spike TV. One thing that she did say that I will touch upon is that she said years prior, when it seemed like every 2 years when it came time for them to renegotiate a new deal or whatnot, they really didn't have that many options. According to her, now they're in a position where they have more than one option. There's a lot of different options that they have, thanks in part to this new talent agency company that they're with, in which, bear in mind, whatever new deal that this company, United Talent Agency, or AKA UTA, is able to get for them, they're going to take 15%. All right, that's their cut no matter what, 15%. That's a significant amount depending on the type of deal that TNA is able to get with a network and everything. It's a great read. Go check it out when you guys get a chance. Also, one big piece of news that seems to be coming about this week, there was this overzealous fan that I guess he felt that he was in a position where he was breaking news or whatever. He was at a WWE event, and he happened to see some production trucks, and he got a buddy to take a picture of him in front of these production trucks. Reason why this picture is worth talking about is because he took a picture in front of a Smackdown truck that had some new artwork on it. It had the Usos on it, and it basically said Thursdays this fall, Smackdown, 8/7 Central. So you hear that, and you're saying to yourself, oh, frick. Well, what does this mean for the TNA product, even though TNA comes on at 9 p.m.? What exactly does this mean for the TNA company? Because now they're really going to be facing competition. You know, what exactly is going to happen right here? So, you know, on the one hand, you're saying to yourself, okay, well, if SmackDown is going to move to 8 p.m. on Sci-Fi, right? Well, then what exactly is going to happen with NXT? Is WWE going to continue to have NXT come on Thursday nights? Because the way that it stands right now, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, because I haven't watched NXT on a Thursday night. I usually get to it on the weekend. So if they change their new schedule, let me know. The last I checked, NXT was coming on at 8 o'clock, and it kind of ran a little bit past 9 o'clock sometimes, just sometimes, but it was definitely on at 8 o'clock, which is kind of cool and convenient because after you get done watching NXT, you can then kick back and, you know, you can watch all of Impact Wrestling or whatever. So if SmackDown is going to be coming on at 8, that means when TNA comes on at 9, they're going to be competing with SmackDown during that second hour. What is the WWE Network going to do during that time? And that's another question that you got to ask yourself. So a lot of competition that's going on right there. Not to mention, you guys got to throw in the fact that football season is back. Everybody has more access to the NFL Network because at first you used to have to pay for a premium membership just to be able to get the NFL Network so you can watch those Thursday games, right? Now you can access it. Doesn't matter what cable provider you have. You can access the NFL Network now, and you can see the Thursday night games. So you combine that. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening this fall with TNA Impact Wrestling, and I think as TNA fans, you all definitely need to be concerned about this because, you know, if SmackDown, and not to mention you got TV shows that are going to be returning, and depending on what the networks have on regular basic television and cable/satellite, depending on the type of lineups that they have, all that combined, it's very possible that TNA may lose its Thursday night spot. And I mean, if that were to happen, then it's kind of like, well, damn, you know, what happens now? Or does TNA maybe take the approach and say, you know what, let's just go head to head with SmackDown. Since they're going to be on at 8/7, let's see if we can move up to 8/7 Central, and we'll just compete with them on the hour, every hour, maybe do it that way. Do they want to take that risk? To my knowledge, TNA Impact Wrestling, as far back as I can recall, they've never truly competed with a WWE show that lasts the same length as they do. We're aware of what they tried to do with Monday Night Raw, and that just was not working. If I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to think, I want to say they tried to compete against Monday Night Raw while Raw was still doing, it was still new to the 3-hour concept, I want to say. But they got their ass handed to them, they being TNA, they went back. So is maybe the answer to tackle SmackDown? Because SmackDown has the running gag of it's on Friday nights. Nobody's really home on Fridays. That's the show that, you know, people don't really watch, not unless they check it out online or it's on their DVR. So this is a very serious issue. Even if TNA were able to work out a new deal with Spike TV, it's like, what's going to happen in that time slot? Or another question that we got to be saying to ourselves, what if TNA Wrestling just is not able to work out this deal with Spike TV and they still don't have a deal come fall. Fall is like right around the corner. September is when everything is popping with all the shows that's returning and all that good stuff. So sign off. Let me know what you guys think about that. We'll definitely follow up on what you guys have to say on our weekend edition of the RCWR show, which is back in full effect this Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern, which you can catch on Spreaker.com. We got the link available in this episode description, so check it out. I'm going to be having a full review at that for a couple of DVDs. Number one, we're going to have a full review of the Ladies and Gentlemen, My Name is Paul Heyman DVD. I'm also going to have a review of Shawn Michaels, Mr. WrestleMania. I finally got around to checking it out, so we'll definitely talk about those two things. I'll also be sharing my experience going to see Big Time Wrestling as they're going to be coming about at the amusement fairgrounds here in Montgomery County, out here in Maryland. Headlining is going to be WWE Hall of Famer Mick Foley, also WWE Hall of Famer Jimmy Snuka, Matt Hardy, Rebby Sky is going to be there, or Rebby Hardy. She's going to be there. It's going to be a pretty freaking solid event. I'm so pumped. I'm like ready to do this already, which reminds me, I need to charge up my camera. I'll be taking some really cool pictures and all that, but I'll be talking about my whole experience of that event this Saturday, so make sure you join us for that. It's going to be pretty awesome. Also, over the weekend, I'm going to have here on YouTube my full review of the U-Shoot interview that Kayfabe Commentaries had conducted with Matt Siddell. You know him better as Evan Bourne. Make sure you check that out. It's going to be some really good stuff right there. Let's get to you guys' comments and see what you all have to say with regards to tonight's episode of Impact Wrestling. I know we're not going to get that many comments, which is good. I like it when it's short and brief. Let's see what we got coming on right here. Carnivore, what's up, man? Well, the comment I posted that you discussed last week about TNA spoiling Dixie through the table. You made some good points about it, and I agreed, but I still felt like it was a wasted surprise. However, I was totally wrong because it still felt like such a huge moment that it didn't matter if it was spoiled or not. I didn't think Dixie going through the table was that big of a deal when the angle first started, but it certainly changed all that tonight with the build-up, the crowd, and everyone involved. This felt huge, biggest moment in a long, long time. The old Bubba look was awesome, good show. Yeah, it was, man. It was a damn good spot, and worth the wait and hype. Nice Arkham Asylum reference. Oh, and with the Anderson, Shaw, and Gunner angle, there's many things that I think happened, but I'm not quite sure. What I am sure about is that I like this angle the best out of everything right now. I think because it's different and has me curious. Oh, and one more thing, the S&M Sonata comment. I think a lot of Japanese people really like that stuff, actually. Hope that doesn't sound racist. No, I've actually heard the same thing. I have a Japanese friend that is aware of a couple of... She's got some stories. I'll put it to you that way. David, it was an awesome show. Just wish the announce team would get excited about big spots like the 3D that killed the finish. Really enjoyed the Monsters Ball match. Brahm is the man for the nasty thumbtack spot. Yeah, how about that thumbtack spot? I mean, millions of thumbtacks just running all up and down his body. That was insane. When did Low Key sound like an action star? That voice is sick. Yeah. Good X Division match. Joe needed to tap into his killer instinct. I miss 2005 Samoa Joe. 8 out of 10 for tonight. Sweet flashbacks of Mae Young going through the table. Indeed. Dougie, this show was great. 8.5 out of 10. The show was strong from start to finish. All right. Ramon, I'm with you on the EC3 character growth. If it's done right, EC3 will be a major player. I was at the TNA taping last night. Great show. I won't spoil anything. Borash announced the taping will air September 11th And all I have to say is the Sonata Storm storyline is only getting better. Keep watching this one. Tonight was a fully solid show. All right, that's nice to know, Ramon. That's nice to know. Ramon, you got to represent, man. If you go into these shows, I mean, represent, man. Sport a RCWR show T-shirt. Have a poster, man. Represent. Show that love. Lukes, I definitely enjoyed the show tonight. Glad my boy Samoa Joe got the win tonight. He's my favorite wrestler in TNA, and he's been for a long time. Just would like to see him as TNA heavyweight champion again. And it seems like my guy, Mr. Anderson, might be getting a heel turn. I'm liking what they're doing with him, and I like the knockout segment tonight. They did a great job building up next week's match, but I'm glad Dixie finally went through the table. Great match tonight, but hate that they spoiled it by telling us last week what was going to happen. But overall, great show tonight. Have a good night, Lee. You too, man. Appreciate that. Thanks for the love and support as always, man. Let's see. First, I just watched a little while hot. Joking, wait. Weston, Lee, is it possible that ROH will replace TNA on Spike TV? Not necessarily, because they have that deal going on with Sinclair Broadcast, which is its own television network, if you will. It's its own little bootleg NBC Universal to a certain extent, if you will. If anybody is going to be standing in the way of a ROH possibly coming in on Spike, first off, my whole thing is, why are some of you all, I don't think obsessed is the right word, why are some of you all intrigued, I think is the better term, in ROH coming on Spike TV? For all we know, maybe Spike TV wants to get away from wrestling. It could happen, but ROH is owned by Sinclair Broadcasting, and honestly, what has really, I think, hurt the growth of ROH is being affiliated with them. I mean, I got to remind you guys that part of the reason why Arsenio Hall had got canceled this second go round is because his shows were being syndicated largely in part by Sinclair Broadcasting, and when they backed out, CBS, who was working with Sinclair Broadcasting and a couple of other affiliates, when they saw that Sinclair had backed out, they were the large partners in this now, and little, C plus minor affiliates was like, oh, well, Sinclair backed out, let us back out. CBS, as much as they had loved the Arsenio Hall show, they were like, oh, we gotta pull the plug then. Forget this. No. If we're gonna be putting all the money into it, no, we need to just no. The only thing that could really stand in the way of ROH's growth is Sinclair Broadcasts. But this whole intrigue into ROH coming in after TNA, I think the real question we need to be asking ourselves is not really about ROH, because ROH has been doing fine all these years. They have been able to get their audience. They've stuck to a formula. They keep going to the same places to do their shows. They're doing fine. They're doing good on the pay-per-views. They're doing okay. They could be better, but they're doing okay. TNA Wrestling, on the other hand, hey, it is what it is. See what else we got right here. I'm only going to read maybe 2 more comments. Yes, which is why I had referenced Chris Jericho earlier to answer your question. Yeah, I think I already mentioned that. I saw something on Twitter. Let me just go to Twitter real quick. By the way, in case you guys haven't heard and you're like into all things wrestling, it looks like with regards to Alberto Del Rio, he has been fired by WWE. I know some of you guys are probably like, does this mean TNA Wrestling is probably going to pick him up? Anything can happen. anything can happen. But definitely check out a piece that we did covering the news of Alberto Del Rio being fired by WWE in case you want to get some more wrestling fix. Razor, what if TNA is on Saturday nights, 6 to 8 or 7 to 9, like WCW/NWA back in the day? Nobody's really home on Saturday nights. That's your only problem. Nobody is really home on those nights. You need to have a strong ass lead in um, for TNA wrestling. Times have changed. It's just not what it used to be, unfortunately. It's possible that TNA they may have to move their operations um, to maybe Wednesday or Friday, if in fact, and until WWE releases an official press statement saying that they're moving SmackDown to Thursdays this fall. Just take what you're hearing right now because if I'm not mistaken, WWE, a representative, they tried to put out a report saying that it's not true about SmackDown moving to Thursdays this fall, but I think that's a load of crap. I think they are gonna make a big deal out of it. They probably have something really special that they want to do. Speaking of special and announcements and all of that, it should be noted that TNA wrestlers were told all week long leading up to these new batch of New York City shows that they were going to be getting some good news. And a lot of the wrestlers were under the impression that that good news was going to be in the form of hearing about a new deal as far as TV-wise goes, new TV deal, but no news has come about yet. It's leaving a lot of them probably feeling agitated, probably wondering what exactly is going on. We'll definitely continue to stay on top of that for you guys. If anything transpires between now and this weekend, we'll definitely get you guys caught up with regards to that. Other than that, that is pretty much it. We did a slam dunk episode. I just continue to see like a bunch of comments come in for our. My God, you all are still talking about TNA wrestling being canceled by Spike. The video we had did. I see more comments continuing to come in for our ADR piece. Once again, if you haven't checked those two out, check those out. Some really great stuff. And yeah, that's going to do it. Let's wrap this up, man. All right, so I thank you guys for checking us out one more time. Check us out on Spreaker this weekend, Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern, for a weekend edition of the RCWR show. Once again, I'll be talking about my experience at Big Time Wrestling, as I'll be seeing Superfly Jimmy Snuka, Matt Hardy, his lovely wife, Revy Hardy. It's going to be just awesome. I can't wait to talk about that. We're going to give you all the details on all of that. We're also going to review the Paul Heyman DVD, Shawn Michaels. There's like a ton of DVDs that I'm going to be reviewing for you guys next couple of weeks. One more time, look out for our channel this weekend. I don't know when we're going to upload it, but it's going to be before the weekend is out, so stay tuned to our channel. We're going to be uploading that Matt Siddell You Shoot interview review. I'll let you guys know if this is something that you need to make an investment in when it becomes available on DVD. You may be a little bit surprised at some of the things that I have to say with regards to that. For all the very latest in wrestling news and beyond, Be Kind Rewind. We got episodes available for you guys on the downloads. Check out the links in the episode description below. One more time, if you enjoyed this piece, please give it a thumbs up, give it a like, share this a number of ways by Google Plusing it, Facebooking it, retweeting it. Always one of the best ways you can spread the good word about our content. That is going to do it. Thank you for staying up with us. Don't hear from you this weekend. Do have a very good, relaxful, and safe weekend. Most importantly, be safe and be kind to one another. We'll see you next go round. Take care.